What's going on, YouTube? The Acura MDX has long been one of the best-selling luxury crossovers on the market, and the latest generation has only made it grow in popularity. But as time has gone on, prices have also gone up, and that's why vehicles like the Acura RDX exist. It offers much of the same style and luxury features of the MDX, but in a smaller package and for significantly less money. So, is the MDX worth the price premium after both got a slate of upgrades for 2025? Well, that's what we're about to find out. As usual, we'll start off this comparison by discussing pricing before we get into the exterior, interior, and the drive. Starting with the RDX, we have the loaded advanced trim, which rings in at $54,000, or about 15 grand less than the MDX. That's right, the MDX Advanced starts at about $66,000, although this tester also has the sporty exterior courtesy of the A-Spec package. All in, we have a price just under 70 grand. By the way, if you want to get the best price from local dealerships and access to invoice pricing info for these two models or any vehicle, we have a tool on our website to do just that. It's a great tool for shopping, so make sure to check the link in the description for more info. If you're new to our comparisons, we conduct them objectively. We've done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories, and towards the end, we will account for that price difference in the value section. Let's go ahead and get started. Beginning things here with the exteriors, you'll definitely see some of the family resemblance between these two, and that's a great thing. Both Acura SUVs got a refresh this year, and on our MDX, the front end is a bit more aggressive, while the RDX goes for a tasteful and classy approach. Whichever you prefer is up to you, but for lighting, both have premium multi-beam projector LED headlights and LED fog lamps as well. Moving to the side, you'll of course notice that the MDX is 11 inches larger, since it's considered a midsize SUV, while the RDX is a compact SUV. We'll see how that translates to interior space later on, but for now, know that both of their designs are punctuated by new wheels for 2025. They are 20 inches on the MDX and 19 inches on the RDX. Ride quality is also something we'll discuss later on, but as we continue our way around to the rears, both have tasteful and luxurious designs. Beyond the cosmetics, we have some differences in the rear lighting. MDX uses a full LED taillight unit, while the RDX still has a cheaper incandescent bulb for its turn signal. Beyond that, both have dual exhaust outlets that are exposed and exposed wipers. And as far as towing capacity, the MDX has a significant 3,500 pound advantage. Now let's move on to some individual features. Checking out the mirrors, they are both fully loaded with features, including heating, blind spot monitoring, power folding, and auto dimming for the driver and passenger sides. In addition, both also include every other active safety system you can think of, standard on all trims. Among all the normal ones, you also have traffic jam assistance, and the MDX can even get an auto lane change feature, but it's not offered unless you get the most expensive Type S trim level. The exterior is one thing, but more important is how they compare on the inside. So now let's get to that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
And if you want to know about all the latest and greatest rides, then make sure to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the newest cars. So first, walking up to them, both have smart entry systems and the same nice key fobs. Remote start is also included on the fobs, free for life. Now when you open up the doors, you are greeted with two very luxurious looking designs. The MDX's interior stands out more in the bright red, but rest assured there are still plenty of other color options offered. Let's start out with the seats themselves. Both models have heated, ventilated seats with memory, and even 16 ways of power adjustment. That means premium items like thigh extension are included. But new to the MDX this year is massaging front seats. That's something that the RDX can't get at all, and it's one of the very best massaging seats out there. Materials-wise, both use full Milano leather that feels expensive. But speaking of materials, let's discuss overall material quality. Both are very nice places to spend time, and they're a little bit more similar than you might expect. They have generous use of soft-touch plastics, leatherette, open-pore wood or aluminum trim, and even metal speaker grills. The MDX does use a leatherette on the dashboard compared to just plastic, so we'll give it a half-point advantage. After startup, you'll see some differences right off the bat. First, the RDX has a 7-inch partially digital cluster, while the MDX is rocking a 12.3-inch fully digital one. The second thing you'll notice is that both of them have large head-up displays. Coming back to the steering wheels, both are leather-wrapped, heated, and even power adjusting in the case of the MDX. But moving to an area of big importance, let's talk interior storage. You'll be surprised here, since the RDX actually has the advantage by a pretty significant margin. While their center consoles are roughly the same size, fitting 10 and 12 donuts respectively, it's only the RDX that includes a massive floating console that allows for so much more storage up front. Both have enlarged wireless phone chargers for 2025, and they also have electronic shifters. Once in reverse, you'll find a 360-degree camera system on both, although for some reason the RDX's takes up a small part of the screen. Now that brings us to the volume knobs, so let's give the audio systems a sample. The MDX has a new Bang & Olufsen system this year, and in practice, both of them have spectacular sound quality that will seriously impress. We'd give the slight edge to the MDX's system, although it's not a huge difference. The climate systems are 3-zone and dual-zone automatic in the MDX and RDX respectively, and both have buttons to easily adjust the temperature. And that now takes us up to these two infotainment systems, which are quite different. Despite being updated for 2025, the Acura RDX's display is still a 10.5-inch non-touch screen. It does have new software that allows for wireless CarPlay and Android Auto this year, but it's not the Google built-in system of the MDX. That's definitely a big advantage software-wise, allowing for the use of Google Maps without pairing your phone, not to mention its touch ability and overall larger screen size of 12.3 inches, being bigger and closer to the driver. Wrapping up the front of the cabins, they have auto-dimming mirrors with garage door openers. Plus, both of them have large panoramic sunroofs. Most people use these for family vehicles, so now let's check out the rear seats. Starting with the space, you'll be surprised to find that these two are sized nearly identically. In both leg and headroom, the MDX holds a tiny advantage, but it's less than the 5% difference required to score a point. Let's also talk about the amenities you'll find in the back. They are both nicely equipped, including climate vents, USB ports, and heated rear seats. MDX also throws in window sunshades, which aren't offered on the RDX. Plus it has a multi-function middle seat, which can be a seat, a center console with storage, or removed to make captain's chairs. And now we come to a very important distinction between these two. Remember when we said that the MDX is a midsize SUV and the RDX is a compact SUV? Well, that means that if you need a third row, then the MDX will have to be your choice, even though it's not the most spacious third row out there. Heading to the cargo areas, again we have substantial differences due to their size discrepancy. According to the numbers, the MDX has a whopping 20% advantage in cargo capacity as a maximum, which is certainly significant for families shopping in this segment. Both the seats can fold, although the MDX has 40-20-40 split folding for maximum seating while hauling long objects. But now it's time to take this fight out to the streets. So heading out on the road, even though these two come from the same brand, they are rocking completely different powertrains. Even after the refresh, the MDX sticks to the traditional route using a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, compared to the RDX's turbo 4-cylinder. Surprisingly, power is very similar between these two, with the MDX having a 6% horsepower advantage, and the RDX having a 4.7% torque advantage. However, that last part is less than the 5% advantage required to score a point. Alright, there we are, accelerating in this 2025 RDX. Now, like we said at the spec dump, the powertrain isn't changing for 2025, so that means the engine is still a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 272 horsepower. That being said, that was not something that I really wanted to see any changes to per se. We've always really quite liked this engine, and it makes a good partner with this model. The way it feels just kind of driving around town really remains like spunky, I think is the best way to explain it.
Alright, here's a quick acceleration up to 55 miles per hour in the refreshed Acura MDX. Now, as you could tell from that acceleration, we have a V6 under the hood. Thank you, Acura. They left the V6 the same as last year, so you're just going to have the 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, 290 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque. And really the thing that I just want to emphasize with this powertrain setup is how smooth and how refined it is.
We also need to consider the other aspect of the powertrains, the transmissions. Both offer refined 10-speed automatics, and power is routed to the ground via Acura's renowned SH all-wheel drive system. We also want to address the smoothness. Acura has done a good job of making the turbo 4-cylinder quite smooth and refined, but when it comes to engine and VH, there's no replacement for a tried and true V6 in the MDX. Now, the other part of this model's spunky powertrain is the transmission, of course. So we've got a 10-speed automatic transmission.
Here's an example of just a normal acceleration. I think that's a prime time for us to talk about the the transmission that you're going to find on board. It's a 10-speed automatic.
And speaking of smoothness, it's really the most important thing with these luxury SUVs. The RDX rides nicely, but the MDX rides amazingly. It soaks up almost any road imperfection. But when it comes to sporty dynamics on a back road, the RDX has the advantage. Its steering is a bit sharper, and the stiffer suspension tune gives it much less body roll.
When it comes to that, your ride is really, really nice. We are here in the Advance model, which means that we get adaptive dampers. So if you choose the Advance or A-Spec Advance, you get the adaptive setup, which really helps you to have ultimate comfort as well as the adaptability. If we were to put it into drive, sport mode or whatever, that would actually allow the vehicle to firm up a lot and give you those sporty characteristics. Now, that we're just kind of cruising here, I do want to also mention ride quality. This is an important area for the MDX. And as always with this model, it has phenomenal ride quality. We've just been driving around here in San Diego all morning long, and when you hit a bump, it does a fantastic job of soaking it up.
We also collected our signature sound level readings, as we do in all Car Confections reviews for both SUVs. They're both very quiet, although the MDX we tested in California on a media drive, and during the RDX's sample it was raining, which means we can't compare these two officially. But here they are for your reference.
Okay, so 58.3 is what we were sitting at. The rain kind of toned down there a little bit at the end.
Wow, guys, we have settled at 51.5 decibels.
And lastly, for fuel economy, the RDX's engine choice has a definite positive impact, beating the MDX by 2 mpg combined. Before we wrap up here, we can't forget to revisit the price discrepancy and assess value. The Acura MDX cost a significant $15,550 more than the RDX, which will award it a half point per $1,000, or 7.5 points. I want to emphasize that if money matters less to you personally, feel free to disregard these points.
Alright, that's it for another sibling rivalry comparison. But let's recap here a little bit with some pros and cons and talk about which product should be your personal winner based on what's most important to you. So you should probably choose the RDX first, and obviously if you're on a bit more of a budget, you can save about 15 grand by choosing that RDX. Also, if you're looking for better fuel economy, it does do that. And also, surprisingly, it does have better front storage, especially with that floating console.
Now, on the flip side, the MDX should be your choice if you want the extra luxury features, including massaging seats. They're really good massaging seats, and that's something that's not offered on the RDX. Additionally, it has a third row and better cargo capacity and the refined V6 experience. I know that's one of my favorite things about the MDX is that V6 and refinement under the hood, so that's something that is missing from the RDX. But we want to know which one of these two siblings you're going to take. Are you taking the RDX and saving some money, or are you going to take the MDX? Let us know down below. If you're looking to buy either one of these SUVs or any new vehicle, we'd also encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But guys, that's going to be where we leave off. If you enjoyed, we'd appreciate a subscribe down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and if you're not, we'd love to welcome you in. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.